Now that you're 27, do you feel any different?
Ooh. It honestly hasn't hit me. Like no one's ever like actually said like happy 27th birthday or
Happy
like
happy
I'm
27th, right?
Like I don't like think I haven't thought about me being 27, but you're right. I am in my
late 20s.
Ew, that's
right?
gross.
Well, you said the same shit to me when I turned 27, so I just had to like bring it back for you. So how is it being in your late 20s? Like super late.
Oh my God, I'm new here. I don't know. What the hell?
The water is warm.
The water is warm. I think honestly I don't feel the pressure yet, but I feel like as I continue living, each day that passes, it's like more pressure to have your shit together and I'm trying not to let it change the fact that I don't have anything to show for it.
Oh my God.
I don't have a ring or a husband or a child or a house.
I feel like that is nothing to show for it.
I have a podcast that's average at best. I'm just
You
kidding.
have a podcast.
That's amazing.
You have so many things.
Yeah.
I think what it is we all like have been groomed to measure success by these like standards that were instilled with us into us since we were little. Like I used to think I want to have children by the time I'm 26. Like why did I think that? I had no reason to think that.
I know, that's
my
honestly
parents didn't
weird.
do that. I just thought that because I don't freaking know. I'm sure like there was probably some sort of like subliminal messages in the freaking commercials that I watched when I was little that like told me that I should have children when I'm 26.
Wait, I actually don't know where that came from.
I don't know.
But everyone thought that like owning a house by like 25 was like the end of the world. Like that's too late.
Yeah. Like,
Imagine
you have
owning
to
a
do
house.
X. But like who made these weird like standards like you have to do X by X age? But I do know what you mean in another sense though, where like, okay, so for example, 3 or 4 years ago when I was like 22, 23, whatever, if I was like, oh my God, yeah, like my room is a mess and like my shit's like everywhere, like I'm just like I'm eating lean cuisine for every meal.
Lean cuisine?
Because I couldn't afford food and like my shoes are from like my sorority formal and I just like, you know, throw them in my bathtub and try to scrub the like shit off of them. Like people are like, oh yeah, classic.
It sounds a little too
I'm just saying, or like, you know, just the grungy shit we used to do. People were like, haha, like that's funny, that's cool. But nowadays, if you spoke like that, people would be like, dude, like, are you okay? Like, when are you gonna get your shit together? And it's funny because you see that start to happen, like a little, like when you get to like this age. Not that we're like old or anything, but you just see like a transition of. You're right, like the expectation is a little higher, and like maybe it's not even like babies or houses or marriage, but even like
just having your shit together.
Things like if people. I don't even know how to explain it. Like if I did something stupid like lock myself out of my apartment or like lose my keys or like just like do things that you do when you're younger that are just like dumb or whatever, people now might be like, why don't you have your shit together?
Yeah.
Like, why are you always rushing all over the place? Why are you late to things? Versus when I feel like when I was younger, people were like, oh yeah, it's just Shannon, like whatever, like she's all over the place.
And now it's like, when are you gonna change?
It's not cute anymore.
No.
People stop thinking that it's cute, and people stop like buying into your bullshit.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden they stop saying happy birthday.
Fuck, is that why? Damn it. Okay, so now that I'm in my late 20s, what do you think I need to stop doing? Or start doing?
What do you think you need to stop doing?
Yeah. Do you think slamming silverware is like a mid-20s thing?
I like slamming silverware. I do.
So that can stay.
Yeah.
Okay. What has to go?
What has to go?
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think like the self-deprecation needs to go.
Oh, that's lifelong, babe.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. But maybe like I like when it's like joking self-deprecation, but when it's a little too like
serious,
I can tell that like it keeps you up at night. Like that does make me sad. I don't like that. I think you working on accepting, this is gonna sound so cheesy, but accepting like the body and the skin and the mental like space that you're in and like being okay with that and appreciating it and like feeling good about it.
Well, don't hold your breath.
Okay. Wait, did anything I was gonna say, were you gonna
I don't know.
try to
I thought maybe you'd say like
something surface level?
I can't even think of anything.
Oh,
because I'm perfect.
You're perfect.
I'm
There
perfect.
you go. You are.
Maybe if I do like reverse psychology, I'll trick myself.
No, that does work.
I know. You got to
That does
fake it
work.
till you make it.
I was talking to someone about this the other day because I know we've joked around about like journaling and stuff. And they were like, dude, just try it because it does work. Like if you can wake up in the morning and before your day gets started, you're sitting there and you can just write down 10 things that like, well, a combination. So things you're thankful for, but also things that like you feel like you're good at or progress you've made. It's so encouraging. Like if you wrote like, you know, yesterday I like completed this, or really proud of myself for X, or like I feel like I was a really good friend to this person when I did whatever. Like when you write those things down, like physically putting things like on paper. Mm-hmm. And they were like, it does work. And I was like, I don't know, I've never tried it, but like I feel like everyone swears by that.
I know. I feel like I've always shit on like that girl on TikTok, but I think it literally comes from me wishing that I was like that.
And you don't have to do all the stuff, right? Like you don't need to be making yourself like a freaking lemon water at like 3 a.m. Like,
but should I be
like doing breathing exercises? But like maybe like take some of it.
I know.
You know? Take some, leave some.
Yeah. I think being 27, first of all, I don't like odd numbers, but that's fine. I can't help that. I have like 363 more days. Well, you're in your
28th year of life, if that makes you feel better.
True.
Like I just aged you by a year.
Now I'm even older. Shit. But there's a piece of me that's almost excited because I feel like I used to be so scared. And I might regret saying this when I'm 29, but I feel like I used to be scared of turning 30 and like entering my 30s era. But there's a piece of me that's kind of excited because I think the saying like you age like fine wine, or like whatever that saying is, I think it truly is true. Like we're gonna have, you know, more money to do fun things with. We're going to, you know, be more set up in life, and it's just gonna be better
and maybe less stress one day.
Maybe. Wouldn't that be an idea?
I think you're right though, because it's interesting. We just talked about like all the new stresses that have been put on our lives. Like the expectations are higher and you have to have your shit together more, but there's a lot of areas where there's less stress on us. Like if I don't want to go out partying Thursday through Sunday, I feel like people aren't like, what's wrong with you? Yeah. Which I appreciate. Like I feel like we're growing up, like, and as much as sometimes people think of growing up and they think of like aging and like they get freaked out by it, lately I've kind of turned the corner and I'm like, wait, like this is really good and like emotionally healthy. Like you don't want to be going from bar to bar like every single day of your life, like drinking yourself into oblivion and feeling like shit all the time. Like that's not a way to live long term. And there's a part of me that's like happy that, I don't know, like part of me that's happy that like we're all kind of like going through this, like we're all growing up together.
Yeah.
I was talking to our friend Janine this past weekend, and she said something that I thought was really, really interesting. I don't know if you relate to this, but I feel like right before the pandemic happened, we were doing probably the most partying that like I've ever done in my life, right? Like we were like, I'm not kidding, probably the Grand twice a week sometimes. Like it would be like a Tuesday night. We'd be sitting there, or like a Wednesday, and we would be like sitting there hanging out, like having a glass of wine at my place, and we'd look at each other and there'd be like 10 of us. We're like, oh, let's just go to the Grand. Like we did that like
and that was when you were in walking distance of the Grand. Yes. So it was dangerous.
And we went like every single night, and it was just like, that's just what we did. And it could be like any casual night. We just end up at the Grand. We'd go partying. We'd go out. I still love going out. I still love going there. I like doing those things. But like it was nonstop. Miami, like here, there. And like we would just go like crazy. And it was so fun. And when the pandemic happened, I feel like we were so resentful because we were like, we were having so much fun and this stupid pandemic ruined our lives. Now we're inside. We can't do anything. But Janine said, she was like, I feel like the pandemic aged us, like in the sense of like, not just the physical like year and a half or 2 years or whatever, but
like maturity.
Yes, maturity wise. Because she's like, when we came out of it, we don't have this desire to do all that shit we were doing anymore. Like the same way. And she's like, I don't think it's a coincidence. We were forced to stay inside. We were forced to not be able to go to like the bars or go to the clubs. But then when they open back up, like we'll go now, but like at a healthy degree. And
like, were we the first ones to show up at Shrine at Foxwoods when they opened up? Yes.
Yes.
But did we have a healthy amount of time in between the next time?
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I'm sure that the people who are like 21, 22 right now are like going out like crazy, just like we did back then. But I just feel like for our particular like age group and for like our particular group of friends, it did teach us some like healthy boundaries and like taught us like, okay, you know what? Like maybe it feels good to wake up on a Saturday and like feel good and like have a productive day, because I think our lives are so stressful, and like spending one or both weekend days hungover and then working all week, like it just maybe isn't that fun every single weekend. You know, maybe you pick your battles.
Yeah, I think our society, like specifically America, has normalized binge drinking, and it's not normal. Like if you go to like other countries, like people know how to have like a couple glasses, maybe like a glass or two of wine at dinner and not taking it like out of control. But here it's like normal to have 10 drinks in one night and then do it again the next night. And it's like, that's not normal. It's really not. And it's honestly gross if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how, I do know the long-term effects, you know, liver cancer if you do it enough.
Yeah.
But it's actually like, I feel like a serious issue that like we shouldn't be normalizing anymore.
Yeah. It's crazy. I was talking to Michael's mom about this, and she said something really interesting. She was like, when we first started like drinking and stuff, we would do it for like a few years, and then it's just like, you know, a lot of us would like marry and like get married and like settle down and stuff, and we did that by like our like early to mid 20s. Mm-hmm. So we kind of got those like party years out when we were like, you know, maybe like 18, 19, 20, 21, maybe even 22. But then by like 23, 24, 25, a lot of us were like getting married, settling down, and having children. And then you're just not really partying as much, because now you're a mom and you're taking care of your children and like, you know, being a little more responsible. But she was like, now that a lot of people are waiting till they're older to get married, have children, she's like, there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a lot more of those years of like singleness of where drinking. People are going out and stuff. So it's interesting because like, for, you know, myself, for example, like we started drinking in college when we were 18. Now we're 27. So it's been almost 10 years of like going out, partying, and we're all technically single. Like none of us are married or anything yet. And let's say you don't get married till you're 30. Like that's like 12 years of like intensity from a drinking perspective, like on your body.
Yeah, think about that.
I do think that that's why there's like this kind of thing going on right now where I think a lot of people our age are kind of reaching this point where they're like, why am I doing this? And it's not like we're being slowed down by marriage or by children or anything. I almost think that there's a genuine part of us that's like, we're kind of realizing, wait a second, like, is this healthy? And like, what are we doing? Which I think is kind of cool that we're realizing that like on our own a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
It's crazy.
I feel like I have never had like a strong desire to be a drinker. Like I didn't really drink in high school, barely did in college. And I think that was primarily because I thought I was allergic to alcohol. Like I could have one glass of wine and my body would just reject it and I would throw up because I felt so terrible, like so nauseous.
Yeah.
And so I never really liked it. But then as I got older, I learned, like I experimented. I like introduced myself to different types like of alcohol, like gin and pretty much just gin and tequila. I was never really into tequila when I was younger, but now I am. And obviously more expensive alcohol. I wasn't drinking nice alcohol when I was younger, but now that I know how to actually properly drink, I can, obviously there are nights where I'm like, I want to get drunk and like get a buzz on and like let loose.
Have a little gal night.
But there are also times when like I know how to control myself, and I feel like that's the biggest thing is like learning how to control it. And like if you find yourself not being able to, like I think people normalize the binge drinking and they don't realize that they actually do have a problem.
Yeah,
which is a deeper issue. But
no, it's so true. And like you'll start to gravitate towards people that drink as much as you do, so you feel like what you're doing is normal while everyone else maybe is like kind of turning the next page. And again, like I don't think there's like anything wrong with like going out and having drinks. Like I enjoy doing that, but it is very interesting. So like I don't know if I've actually said this on the podcast, but I haven't drinking this past month. So the month of September, I didn't drink. I did make an exception this past weekend, technically on October 1st, with a few of my friends, and we were day drinking all day. And honestly, I don't even know if I'm built for day drinking anymore. And that story for another day. It was fun, but like I feel like day drinking like takes a lot out of you. So yeah, and like I did it for the past month, and it's interesting because I would still go out, I'd still go to parties, still go to bars, just wouldn't drink. It's funny when you're sober watching people that are drinking and you're just like observing things you've never noticed before, because you've always been like, even having a drink or two, you don't notice things the way that you do when you're dead sober. Yeah, like it's almost like your senses get like lit up. My mom doesn't drink, and she always says, she's like, you notice like your like senses are so much more like intense when you don't drink. I don't know why, but I noticed that. And honestly, like I did feel better. Like waking up every single day feeling good is like a really amazing feeling. Like
underrated.
So underrated, right? And I don't think, like I was talking to Michael about this, I don't think I'll like give up drinking permanently. And I think the reason is because I love like a nicely crafted cocktail with my girlfriends.
Exactly.
Like it's more about like the vibes. Like I like to go to dinner on a Friday night with my girlfriends to some like really nice trendy place in the city, get dressed up and have like one cocktail that's like super pretty to look at, take an Instagram picture out of it. I know that sounds so stupid and cheesy, but I like to have it and like have some laughs with my friends and like go home after. Like, so for that reason, I don't think I'll give it up fully, but I have felt good. So I think just like limiting it is smart. And yeah, I think that just like all day long is a lot for me.